Good afternoon, guys. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon today. The sun's out, it's nice and bright out. It makes a change. It's been grey all weekend. But anyway, guys, I'm putting this podcast out. I'm going to upload it onto my YouTube channel in a bit, guys. I've got some great news coming up for you. Part 3 of my podcast with Sean Atwood will be with a great friend of mine. And I'm sure many of you other guys know him too. And his name is Mr. Fish. So me and Mr. Fish have been talking on the phone. I've just got off the phone to him just now, just to confirm that it's next week that we'll be going down to Sean and doing a podcast with him. So hopefully within the next 10 days, 14 days after the 31st of next week, it'll be online for the public to see. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a laugh because we've got a lot in common, Fish. And we've got a lot of mates who know each other and family and bits and pieces like that, and he knows where I've come from, I know where he's come from, and we've got a great story to tell between us. So I'm looking forward to that, guys. So yeah, going down to Sean on the 31st to do part 3, so I'm looking forward to that. That's brilliant. Anyway, guys, today I've grown a little bit of a beard, guys. What do you reckon of it anyway? Give me some comments. Give me some feedback on my comments, please, and let me know what you think of my little bit of a moustache and a beard. I thought personally, growing it would make me look a bit more chilled out, like not so aggressive because of that tattoo on the side of my face. And with a bald head, I look pretty menacing, and that's all right when you're younger and you're in the game, but when you're older. So Mr. Fish said on his podcast a few weeks ago, when you're older and you're settled and you just want to get on with your life and you're happy, that's the last thing that you want is confrontations. And yeah, I do get stereotyped and I do get confronted about the tattoo on the side of my face sometimes. So I thought I'd grow this little beard just to take the dairy off my face a little bit about the skin, and it makes me feel good anyway, so I hope you like it. Going a little bit grey, but I'm coming up to 53. Right, guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you about Swaleside, HMP Swaleside. As many of you know, I've got 12 years in 1999. I was a Category A for the first 2.5 years, and on the 3rd year I got sent to Swaleside, which is in Laysdown, Sheerness, Isle of Sheppey, Kent. So by the time I got to Swaleside, basically I was, I knew the score. I've been in jail many other times, and I knew people in there. So I didn't know what wing they was on, but I knew people in there, and I knew that when I'd get in there, I'd be all right. Do you know what I mean? Because, as many of you know, once you start going to jail, it's always the same circle of people that you meet many years later, unfortunately. But it's the truth. That is dead honest truth. You might go to jail like 10 years later, or maybe even 15 years later, and I guarantee you'll know someone in that jail who was doing birds with you many, many years ago. So anyway, when I landed in Swaleside, I got through reception. The screws were big old lumps, had caps coming down here, pretty menacing, do you know what I mean? But I obviously knew my background. They read my page 16, which is a report what the prison make of you on a day-to-day basis. So you don't think they're watching you, and you don't think they're observing them, surveying you, but they are. Every movement, what you do on the wings during the daytime is noted down, especially when you was a Category A, when I was a Category A prisoner. So basically it's a thing called a page 16, and it's intelligence, what they gather over the space of a few years. So by the time I got to Swaleside, they had my page 16 open. They knew I was in for X amount of armed robberies, and they knew I wasn't no mug, so they didn't try anything stupid with me. I'm not saying they did try anything stupid with other inmates, but they definitely didn't try anything stupid with me. I'd heard quite a few rumours about Swaleside because its nickname was always Brownside. It was full of heroin, but that was just a rumour, and I didn't know this at the time. But yeah, I got in there, got put into onto the wing, and on the wing you've got like 4 different spurs on each wing. So you've got a spur down there, and you've got a spur over there, a spur straight across, and a spur. So it's like a cross. However you want to do a cross, it's like that. That's it. It's like a cross. So you've got spurs coming off of each one. And I got put onto one of the spurs. It was late in the afternoon, so by the time I got in there, you know, it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I got a bit of tea and was locked up for the night. I was high risk, so which made me have a single cell. And that stemmed back from many, many years ago. Whereas when I was getting locked up and I was going into double cells, I was fighting and I was, yeah, so they high risked me because of every cellmate I had, or nearly every cellmate I had. I either beat up, had a fight, or we had a disagreement, you know. I just like my own bit of space around me. And, you know, just leave me alone. I won't get in your way if you don't get in my way, type of thing. And I just want to be left alone to get on with my bird, you know. So I like a single cell. But anyway, yeah, I was put in a single cell in Swaleside, and the next morning we got let out. And to my surprise, a few of my mates was in there, who I knew from back in the day. I'd done loads of bird with them. And it was a little clique. There was little cliques in there. So like you had like as you walk down the landing on association, you had cells, obviously, where we done our fucking bird. But yeah, the screws used to lock the gate up and then just let us run around the spur, so we could run across the other spur, to the left, to the right. It gives a little bit of leeway, do you know what I mean? We could run across. And as you walk down the landing, you'd look in one cell, and in one cell there'd be like a tattooist, and they'd have like 4 people in there waiting to have tattoos. You'd have someone on the door, letting the tattooist know that when the screws come along, bang, put it away quick, hide it. Couple of doors later, you'd have a pub. You'd have like a few blokes in there having parties, blaring music out, drinking hooch, getting pissed, you know what I mean? Then a few other doors along, you'd have a bookies, all newspaper, the bloke would have a newspaper and maybe a mobile phone, taking bookies and taking bets, good money in that there was. So yeah, it was, you know, it was one of them prisons where if you didn't know anyone, by the time you got in there, people would start looking at you and wondering like, how comes he's not known and what's he in for and things like that. So as luck had it, I was known. My co-defendant, which I haven't mentioned his name because of legal reasons, but yeah, he was in there before I landed there, so that was a right result. So basically he was waiting there for me. But anyway, I settled in there pretty quickly. I got into my own little clique. There's about 3 or 4 of us. We used to cook a bit of food, and we didn't eat the prison food. We used to sit in the cell over night time, play cards, have a drink, have a little smoke, you know, 2 hours on association, and that's all we lived for every night, you know. But the thing is, there was violence in there, and I've seen violence in other jails, but I hadn't seen violence as bad as what I'd seen in Swaleside, to be honest with you. It was absolutely horrendous in there. There was people getting stabbed, people having like hot fat chucked at them, people getting the shit kicked out of them on a daily basis. The bell was going off, and it weren't like silly little minor injuries, you know. Some of them were horrific injuries. I can tell you about one of those stories. We got locked up one night after association, and there was you could go to your window and open your window up. You had a little gap in there like that, but you couldn't open it right up because we used to chuck lines across and like send each other bits and pieces through lines. But anyway, on this one night, what we're talking about, we all got locked up for the night, and I heard a little bit of commotion at the cell window. So I thought, you know, a bit of earwigging at the window, kills a bit of bird. I'll have a listen to it, have an earwig. And there was two inmates, which was like either side of me. So one was that side and one was that side, and I was banging in the middle. And they were both screaming at each other and having a really bad slagging and arguing match. You know, all these horrible things like suck your mum and things like that. It's disgusting, do you know what I mean? But they was revving each other up. But the thing is, you hear these prison arguments out the window all the time. So to me, I just thought, you know, by the morning it'd blow over. But anyway, I was at it all night, and you know, a few of us got out the window and said, pipe down, because a few of us wanted to get their head down and go to sleep, but you couldn't because they were screaming and slagging each other all night. Anyway, the next morning come, there's still doors opened up, screws open the door up. What they used to do is open the doors up, each one, and then walk off the landing. So they'd have a look, open the door, and walk off the landing. So we was all out in a rota. So basically they opened there was 2, as I said, I was in the middle. So they opened all the cells up, and the guy on the right hand side of me, his name was Darren. I ain't going to mention his surname. His name was Darren. I see him run past my cell because my cell door was open just a little touch. So I see him run past my cell, and I heard him go into the next cell. He was going into the cell what he had the argument with the fella. But this fella Darren, he had a table leg with him, and he had like a nail, probably about that long, banged into the end of it. So he's running to the cell, and the other guy, he was in bed. He had the green blanket over his head, and he was turned around to the side like that, and he was asleep. So this guy, I mentioned Darren, Darren ran into his cell and got the table leg and went bang, just as the geezer was in bed still, stuck the table leg, and the nail went straight into the side of his head like that. Anyway, he's given him a few more clumps. We all heard the commotion, and we all ran to the cell, and we see Darren running out with the table leg, and we try to calm things down. But the guy who'd just been hit in the head, he was like moaning and like, oh, he was in pain, he was in agony. He was, seeing his face and hearing the moans and he's squealing like a pig type of thing. It was horrendous, and I still hear it today, and I can still see his picture today. As I say, I do suffer with PTSD, and it's things like this what make me, really get me going. But for me, talking and getting my story out for awareness is key to me. So this is why I'm doing this, not for money, it's for awareness. Just to try and deter anyone from going to jail, and just if I can get a few like true stories over from my experiences, then hopefully that'll deter other people from following my footsteps, guys. But you can take this on board or you can't, it's up to you, but anyway, so basically the bell got hit and the screws run along, and by the time the screws got to his cell, the guy was half hanging out of his bed. There was like blood and green stuff I see all running down his forehead, and the screws picked him up off the floor, laid him on his bed and put him into a recovery position, but unfortunately he passed away. The screws went on to the walkie-talkies, rang up for the healthcare. I heard the nurses come in, they locked us all down. At this stage we was all locked down, so we heard the nurses come, and we heard the nurses going in there, and I heard him trying to resuscitate the guy, but the guy was plainly dead. So Darren, or called Darren, he murdered the guy next door to me, and he got carried off. Darren got took down the segregation unit, put on good order and discipline, and he got shipped out of jail. So I'm not too sure what went on after, but I did hear through the grapevine that he obviously got arrested for the murder of it and got sentenced and got a life sentence down to it. But yeah, guys, I just thought I'm going to drop this little video here just to let you guys know that, this is what goes on in these long-term prisoners. Don't for 1 minute think that it's a walk in the park and you've got PlayStations, quilts, carpets, curtains. You might have all that, but I'll tell you something now. They're the most dangerous, ruthless places you can ever go to. BCAT, training jails, the next one down from ACAT jails. So, anyway, guys, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. Please subscribe and share. And I'll be uploading new content again tomorrow. So thanks for listening to this, guys. Peace out. Love you.